I realized I was not recording. Fuck. Okay. Well, welcome back. I have done a lot of introspection. Okay. And through that, let's talk about the witch wound because so many women suffer from the witch wound. I myself have suffered tremendously from the witch wound, and we cannot step into our highest timeline, our most abundant timeline, until we confront it, we heal it, we give it lots of love, and we open the fuck up to the rest of the world and show up as our most authentic selves. Because when we look at the witch wound, what is the witch wound really? It is the fear of being seen. It's the fear of being seen in your own power. It's the fear of claiming your power and claiming your authenticity. So, I mean, that's every fucking woman in this society, isn't it? When we heal the witch wound, which is just a blanket term for a fuck ton of wounds, then we're able to step into our highest timelines. I'm now ascending through my timelines and our most abundant timelines. But in order to get there, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And this shit sucks, man. It's rough. I'm going through a transition right now, and I know that I'm about to like slingshot. But the only way we get to slingshot forward is by getting pulled back real fucking far. And that shit hurts. So let's talk about it. Because no matter where you are in your phase right now, you might be feeling like you're ready to step forward. And before we step forward, there's always a pull back. So you might already be in the pullback and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Or you might be somewhere in the middle of the pullback, things are getting better, and we're going for that slingshot forward. So let's talk about the phases, okay? When we're on our healing journey, like number one, when we figure out what the fuck the problem is to begin with, and this requires a lot of writing, a lot of journaling, a lot of introspection. Journaling is one of the best tools that we have, and nobody's fucking using it anymore. When you write, you are activating about 37 neural pathways across the entire brain instead of typing where you're only activating about 9. So writing is one of the most powerful tools if we're trying to reset a neural pathway, we're trying to get rid of subconscious feedback loops. Writing it's everything, okay? So rather than just typing, because how many times have you typed out something in your notes and you just fucking forget about it? Like you type out a message and you forget to hit send. Typing is not as effective as writing. So with that introspection, we need to do some shadow work. We need to figure out, one, what is the problem to begin with? Like, are we feeling unconfident? Are we feeling scarcity? Are we feeling fear and anxiety? What are the feelings that are coming up? And then we need to start diving into like, what is the root? Okay, how long have we been feeling like this? Is this a feeling that we've had since very young? Because 99.9% of the time it is. The thing is that the subconscious is taking up 95% of your day. 95% of your day is being run by the subconscious, and 70% of the subconscious was formed before the age of 7, which means 7-year-old you is running the show for the majority of your day. And a lot of those anxieties and fears and scarcity loops and all of that, it comes from very young. So we don't usually remember what the fuck happened back then. If you do, I'm sorry, because I sure as hell don't want to remember what I was doing before the age of 7. We don't remember what we were taught, what the beliefs were at that time. But they're still impacting us to this day. So how do we start to go back? And that's where that journaling is going to come in. You would be surprised by how many memories you will uncover just by writing, okay? God knows that I have uncovered way too much shit through journaling because it allows the subconscious to come through. So once we are able to figure out, one, what is the problem? And two, where did the root come from? And then you're like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Okay. Now, there's a lot of different methods and different ways that you can go from here. Ones that I really recommend are doing like either a guided meditation or a meditation of some sort for you to be able to go back to that timeline and speak to your younger self and give it the words of encouragement that is needed in order for them to know that whatever it is, it's not their fault, that it is okay to release these feelings. There's a lot of different, it's going to be whatever you feel called to tell yourself. I hope that this makes sense. And then when it comes to other methods, repetition is one of the best forms that we have to not only create subconscious feedback loops, but to rewire subconscious feedback loops. So the subconscious feedback loop is made out of 4 parts. I'm about to go grab one of my books so we can dive in a little bit deeper into this. Bear with me 1 second. I have it right next to me. I love that. Okay, so this is Shadow Work. It is by Danielle Massey, and I have read this book multiple times over, and I am probably going to actually read this again. It is fucking phenomenal. So the subconscious feedback loop is made up of 4 parts. It's made up of experiences, chemical reactions, physical reactions, and thoughts. So I'm going to just read the highlighted notes that I have here so that way this can all make sense. The subconscious feedback loop consists of 4 parts: experiences, chemical reactions, physical reactions, and thoughts. Each of these functions is part of the larger feedback loop that reinforces each aspect of the loop, ensuring that it will continue into the future. It all begins with an experience. Even before we are born, we are having experiences every moment of every day. And these experiences start the process of shaping our reality immediately by starting the chain reaction in the subconscious feedback loop. When we experience something, we use all of our senses to take in that information: hearing, seeing, smelling, and so on. The brain receives this information, and then it creates a chemical reaction to tell the body how to respond to the stimuli it just experienced. This chemical reaction sends a message to the body about how to respond to the experience appropriately, which creates a physical reaction. Blood and oxygen are pumped to particular areas to help the body navigate the experience. A signal is then sent back to the mind in the form of a thought, informing the mind how it should think about the experience that just occurred. This thought then signals the brain how the experience should be categorized, ensuring that the next time you experience a similar situation, you can replay the subconscious feedback loop and create a more streamlined process, because our brain is trying to simplify and make things as quick as possible, okay? You can take this same thought and apply it into the gym and apply it into sports, right? When we take a kid and we throw them into sports and they let's use baseball for an example. Of course we are. And you're teaching this boy how to hit the ball for the first time. He's going to be really, really rusty at it, right? The first few times he's gonna miss, but the more that he practices, the easier that it gets, because the body, the brain, and the body are working together to streamline the process and make it the most efficient and effective as possible. So the same way that we learn how to do things in the gym, the same way that we learn how to do things in sports, is the same way that our brain processes any type of loop, whether it's within a relationship, whether it's with friendships. This is the same loop that plays on repeat. It's just with different stimuli and different circumstances. Some of them are physical and some of them are not. So, continuing on. Pause. Okay, so subconscious feedback loops are formed, but they're not always in our favor, because the brain likes familiarity. So if it causes, let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. When you're a kid, all right, and your mom punishes you for something that actually wasn't even bad, then your brain is going to continue to believe that that is bad regardless that it's actually not. Does that make sense? Like, let's say you got punished for taking a walk outside and it was too late, but you're like, I'm just going for a walk, whatever. Then your brain continues to make that association that going for a walk is bad at any time, right? And that might not be the case, but that is the association that's made with your brain. That's the loop that has been created. And regardless of whether it's true or not, does not matter. So we have to learn how to break these loops, because we all have them. We have a fuck ton of these loops in our brains that have created these beliefs that aren't necessarily true and that are holding you back from stepping into your highest timeline. So how do we cause interruptions in the feedback loops in order to change the outcome? If we can use an interruption at any one of these levels, then we can cause a disturbance in the loop that can cause it to break down. For instance, if we can convince the man in our example that the sound of yelling is a neutral experience. Oh, that would have been probably a better example, but you get my point. That the sound of yelling is a neutral experience, fewer chemicals are likely to be released, which would mean that there would be little to no physical reaction and no thoughts would be necessary. Or if we were to interrupt the level of thoughts after he passed through the initial stages of the loop, we could tell him to do some mantra work and repeat words like, yelling has nothing to do with me, I am at peace. If he continued to say, and mean, because you have to do these affirmations with conviction or it doesn't do jack shit, okay? If he does this repeatedly, his experience might change into one that was more relaxed, which would trigger the release of endorphins and signal the body to calm down and feel at ease. This sequence would reinforce the altered thought, potentially creating a new loop. So let's say you got yelled a lot as a kid, and obviously that feels negative, right? But what if we begin to neutralize yelling? What if we start creating affirmations that yelling isn't necessarily a bad thing? And I'm not saying that this is a good example, okay? I'm just saying I don't like yelling. I'm just saying that what if we were to make it neutral? The way a lot of people associate foods with good or bad. I fucking hate those terms. Food is food, okay? If we can take the emotion out of good and bad in foods and just neutralize it, it makes shit so much easier. So much easier, because we're interrupting the cycle inside of your brain that is either doing, oh, this is really bad for me, and you're going to feel guilt and shame after consuming it if you decide to consume it, or you're like, oh, this is really good for me, and it causes endorphins. Either of those in extremes is going to be negative, okay? Because it could be a point that you're only eating things that are considered to be super healthy, and doing anything in excess is bad. All right, and I know I'm kind of like treading a fine line here, but let's say I'm a competitor, right? And when I'm in competition prep, I'm very limited to the foods that I can eat. And if I associated those foods with good and anything else to be bad, then I would never eat anything outside of prep food. And that is not good, because there are a lot of things that get taken out that are considered healthy. Like, I can't eat a lot of fruits when I'm in prep. I eat like bananas and blueberries and that's it. So there's lots of things that are considered good and healthy that my brain would associate as negative because it's not in prep. So I hope that this is making sense, that if we neutralize things, it makes it a lot easier for your body to not respond and cause some type of chemical reaction that's going to cause thoughts and so on and so forth, that the loop continues. As we had mentioned, affirmations is a really big piece to this, because if we can interrupt the thought process behind it, which is one of the number one things that I start working with my clients the very first day that they start, then it interrupts the loop. Okay, so all of my clients that are watching, if you wonder why, even though I explain it, why we start catching those negative thoughts and replacing it immediately, it's for this very reason, okay? Because I'm rewiring your brain from like day one. So if we can find a negative thought that is coming up and we can affirm it with a positive one, then we're interrupting the loop. And it is so much easier over time to create a new neural pathway if there is a constant interruption, if we're constantly aware. Now, here's the thing, as witches, we are aware that our words are fucking powerful, right? We cast spells, we cast these commands to the universe, and the universe obeys, as long as it's done with conviction, right? But then when we are thinking things, we just let that shit go. And we're not cautious of the words that are coming in and out of our own mind. And that is literally the most powerful tool that we have here. So being aware of what words are coming in and out and interrupting those thought patterns so that way we can cut off these subconscious feedback loops that are holding on to identities that do not serve us is going to be fucking massive into stepping into your next timeline. I'll be honest, I completely lost my train of thought from there. Anywho. The witch wound. This is a big part of the witch wound, okay? Because when we can understand how to cut these negative thoughts, we get to cut these subconscious feedback loops that are holding us back. It helps us start to heal through the witch wound. and all the different aspects of it, right? So we might have subconscious feedback loops in the fear of being seen, the fear of being seen authentically, the fear of being seen in our full power. We might have subconscious feedback loops about money, about scarcity, feelings of scarcity. I dealt with that a fuck ton, okay? Where did those stem from? We need to go back, and how can we start replacing them? And this is going to be the final piece of this. We need to slowly but surely start to talk to ourselves as if we are already living in the timeline that we want to be in. So that way the nervous system can regulate, because the body is a massive piece to the puzzle here. And we have to have nervous system regulation, and we need to have the mind. The mind is part of the body, even though we talk about it like it's fucking something else. The mindset to be able to step into these timelines. We have to show up as the woman who is already there. And we can't do that when we're holding on to old timelines and old identities and old beliefs. So that shit's gotta go. It's gotta stay there, okay? It cannot come with us. So, why do I keep losing my train of thought? Fuck. Stepping into your highest timeline, it's going to require tremendous work to be able to show up authentically, to be able to show up as the woman who already belongs there. And I gave this little piece of advice to one of my clients when we were doing some shadow work during our check-in. And I told her, I need you to pretend that you're incognito, okay? That you are incognito to everyone around you. Anybody in your work, in your family, you are undercover. And they have no idea who you actually are. And you're gonna glow up, all right? They don't have a clue what's coming, but you're about to like blow up, glow up, claim your power. Everything that you ever prayed for is already on the way, and you're just waiting for it to arrive. And you know it's arriving. But right now, you're undercover. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's coming. They're all gonna see it once it happens, but nobody knows who the fuck you are and what you're capable of and what you came here to do except you. This is one of the biggest hacks that I used while I was stepping into my highest timeline. I walked around like I was incognito. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't talk about my goals. I didn't talk about my aspirations. I didn't talk about what I do on a day-to-day basis. I am undercover. And guess what? Everybody was real fucking shocked when shit blew up. But I wasn't shocked because I knew it was coming. I had already known for years, but there was a lot of work that needed to be done to be able to get there. So that's where we're at. My witch, you are undercover, okay? Nobody knows who the fuck you are, how powerful you are, how capable you are, what you came here to do. Nobody knows that you're about to blow the fuck up. That's the mentality that we need to have while we're going through the shadow work. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that you're about to be, that you already are that bitch and you're just hiding. All right? That's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you got value from this. If you did, please let me know. Let me know your biggest takeaway, and I will see you guys in the next one.